Hello everyone, Beastie here. I'm back with another video, another guide. This time we're going to be doing Protoss versus Terran build order guide and kind of just guide how to play this matchup. This was a build that was becoming more and more popular in the last patch. Actually, it's been popular for a while in the last patch, but I think it transitions well into the new patch. So I figured let's just do a build with a little updated version, and that's pretty much it. So let's get started. So PvT, honestly, not much has changed. Terrans did get the new Cyclone, but the only thing that makes like different is that the Cyclone all-ins are not really going to happen anymore. The new Cyclones are not that great for all-inning. They're very, very squishy, but if you don't know how to deal with them, the game can go south very, very quickly. So yeah, other than that, mid and early game has not changed much at all. So first things first, you see something that might be weird. I'm putting the first pylon at the bottom of my ramp, and I usually do a pylon scout with this build. Now, you can also do a gateway scout. So when I say pylon scout, it means you make a pylon and then scout. Or if it's a gateway scout, you build a pylon, then a gateway, and then you scout. I prefer to do pylon scouts. First, because you will get to scout if they're proxying you quicker, and then you can react accordingly. And second, I like to harass the SCVs when I get there with my first probe. So if you have, you know, X-ray PM, you don't have much to do in the early game, it's always good to harass Terrans because they can always mess up, you know, delay their barracks building construction a little bit, maybe their command center construction, so on. So I always think it's good to scout with the pylon probe. Now, the reason why I'm walling off here is because I will be opening Cyber Core first and then expand. So this is, again, a variation of the build we've had in the previous patch. And then towards the end of the previous patch, it kind of got to this point that I'm about to do. So basically, the reason why you're making the gateway and pylon here is that if you're getting proxied, sometimes what happens is they proxy and then they build a bunker here, and then you're stuck in the main, so you can't expand, and you need to get Robo or Stargate for Void Rays, and it just delays your expansion too much, even if the proxy fails. But if your first gateway and pylon are here, you can defend this high ground, and you can take your natural base much safer. And that's the second reason, which is the more important one. Because you have gateway here, you can get to the enemy base quicker, which I'm going to talk about very, very soon. So pylon, gateway, gas, you go harass here with your little probe. You can see this AI is not very good with dealing with that. So next thing I'll be doing is at around 115, 116, you send another probe to the natural, and I'm going to build a cyber core. Now, it's very important the building order at this point in the game. If you mess up the building order, you might get supply blocked, or you might not have enough minerals, so it's very important to get this done properly. So, cyber core, you build 3 probes into the gas. Then I'm going to build Nexus right now. And you'll see that the supply and the mineral will be very, very close, but this is the best way you can go about it. So Nexus, then you want to build a pylon, because your cyber core will be finishing soon. And then you build a gas, and then you resume the probe production onto that gas. So basically the point of this build is to first delay the CC a little bit with your probe. And the second thing is you want to chrono boost your first adept across the map. You can see your supply block for like half a second there if you do it right. The goal of this build is to try to delay the command center by a lot. So it doesn't matter that your Nexus is delayed a little bit, because you're supposed to delay the command center from building for at least like 20-30 seconds if you do this right. Back at home, I'm just making probes. You want to chrono boost the first adept and chrono boost the stalker behind it. Now, why this order? Well, you got adept first because adept is the fastest, you know, out of the 4 gateway units you can build because of the shade. And you want to get there as quick as you can because the CC will be about 60% done right now. This is AI, but I'll tell you guys what games you can take a look at and see how this works out in the actual games. So you will get there as soon as you can, and if you see the Reaper along the way, ignore it and just go for the command center. the Terran, if they see your Adept, you don't even want to go like around to be sneaky, you just want to go straight to their base. Now, if Terran sees your Adept, they have two options. They can either go here to your base, or they can go defend the Adept with Reaper, which is actually the best one for you, in my opinion, because then you can just rally units across the map and keep harassing, and most Terrans will lose their Reaper to the Adept, so yeah. The reason why you chrono boost the second Stalker is if he sends the Reaper to your main base, then this Stalker will be in time to defend the Reaper, and then, like I said, if the Reaper goes back, you just send the Stalker with the Adept and you start working on the command center. Now, from here on out, you want to consistently produce Stalkers from the gateway. You don't need to chrono boost it anymore, only 2 chrono boosts. And you want to go into Twilight Council. Now, I really prefer Twilight Tech in this current patch because of these Cyclones. So Oracle openings, I think, are really bad in PvT these days because of the Cyclones. They defend them really easily. But if you're a player that likes to go for Stargates, just go straight into Phoenix because, you know, if they do any kind of Cyclone pressure or try to harass you with Cyclones, you can pick up the Cyclones really easily with Phoenix, and then they're kind of screwed. So that's kind of why I prefer Twilight Tech these days, because it just gives you stronger like power and less chance to just straight out lose. Now, you can see Twilight is done, and from now on you want to be chrono boosting that blink. You want to get it as fast as you can, still making probes on the natural, and now depending how your game went, this is how you play out from here on out. So if you manage to cancel the CC, obviously that's like the best case scenario. Make a shield battery. You know, you made him cancel the CC, so making a shield battery or 2 is not the biggest deal. If for somehow you lose your units, and you only have like 1 Stalker, just get a shield battery, be ready to defend. And if it kind of goes neutral, you just continue with your build order. But I mean, you would continue with your build order either way. You would just make a shield battery or 2 just to be extra safe. And it's also very hard for Terran to push in here with these buildings. They kind of will, if they come up the ramp, they will help out by Terran accidentally attacking the buildings and so on and so forth. So yeah. I'm adding 2 more gateways, still chrono boosting blink. You want to have 3 gates, like I said, just in case that, you know, Terran counterattacks, which is obviously very common with either Banshees or just Marine drop, Widowmine drop, Hellions, or whatever else. So adding Robo as well, and after this I will be adding a 3rd base. This is the build that's been going on for, well, not the Cybercore first, but the normal expand into 3 gate and Robo. But this is the version that I've seen Zest do first. I'm not sure if it's his build or not, but I thought it's really good build, so I wanted to make a guide for you guys on that. So getting my 3rd base around like 410, as you can see. Getting another Stalker. Blink is almost done. Getting my warp gates ready. And at this point, depending on what you saw, you can reposition your army. That's one thing that a lot of Protosses struggle with, I feel like. A lot of Protoss players ask me, how do you know where to put your units? Well, if you were getting counterattack with like 2 Cyclones, right? Then there's no Widowmine drop because he was making Cyclones. So you don't necessarily need to have your Stalkers here. Maybe you can put Stalkers in between the 2 bases because he might drop Cyclones here, but he might not drop them, you know, he's not going to drop them all the way into the main base. If you saw Hellions, you need to be ready, maybe make a pylon and make a Stalker here and then put the rest of your Stalkers in the main base in case he tries to drop the Hellions. So just try to readjust where to put your army based on the units that you saw and based on the units that your opponent was making. Obviously, if you saw a Liberator, you're going to put 3 Stalkers here, 3 Stalkers here, and wait for the Liberator to arrive, especially with Blink. You should be able to kill it. Now, I'm grabbing the 3rd gas, and this is actually the only gas after the first initial 2 that you will be taking until the game gets to the very late game. So, getting my 3rd gas, gonna saturate it, and the reason why you don't need a lot of gases is because this is extremely heavy gateway unit style with upgrades as well. So The first thing you want to do with Robo is get an observer and make sure to get a scout across the map.
Research complete.
And just put your first chrono boost that's available. It will be this one. Put it into the Robo, get some observers. You want to start double forge as well and get those upgrades rolling. I usually do one chrono boost into Robo. I'm not sure if I did it now. Should be. I usually do one chrono boost into Robo just to get observers out, and then all the other chrono boosts you want to be putting into your forges, because that's the advantage that you're going for. Basically, your playstyle is mass gateway upgrade style, and you want to overwhelm Terran, especially when you have 2-2 or 3-3 upgrades. You just want to trade and just beat the Terran with better upgrades and more units, because your third base is extremely quick, your fourth base will be extremely quick, and yeah. So with the first observer, by the time that comes out, the Terran will usually have done some kind of harassment, and then you will be free to move across the map with a couple of Stalkers. And this is something you see a lot of pro players do. They push across the map, and they just try to pick off whatever they can. Maybe that's a cycle, maybe that's a marine or two, maybe there's a supply depot here. And with the observer coming, you will have the high ground vision. So if his whole army is here, what you can do is blink inside, maybe try to kill a tech lab. But the most important thing is try not to lose these Stalkers, because after you make the initial 6 to 10 Stalkers, you actually don't want to be making any more, because you will need the gas for upgrades and immortals, since you're only on 3 gases. So they're very, very expensive to remake, so try not to lose them. Now, one thing to note is make sure your gateways are early enough. The mistake that I've done for a very long time is I would saturate my third base first, and then I would start making gateways. That's wrong. You need to make the gateways as the third base is building, because by the time that your third base finishes, you will start your gateways, and then you can continue your pro production, and in case the enemy attacks, you will have a bunch of gateways to work with, to be exact 8. And yeah, don't be greedy with your probes or you will die. Unless you scout third CC, then you can probe up to third first, but most engines these days just do 2 base heavy pushes, so gateways first, safety first. So chrono boosting the forges as soon as you have the energy. Like I said, here you can try to pick off stuff, you can try to blink in, and from here on out, basically the most important things that you want to be doing is constantly make immortals, constantly chrono boost your forges, start your charge upgrade at the same time where you start your double forge. I forgot it here a little bit, you can see it's delayed. So make sure charge is started as soon as you start +1/+1, and get your third base saturation to 16 probes and then stop. The moment you get 16 probes on the third, you want to be making only units. Now, there's 2 options here. Either the Terran, like I said, is 2 basing, or he's playing a normal game. If he's playing a normal game, you can warp in units accordingly. You don't need to just warp in units and nothing else. But if the Terran is going for the third, you can even sneak a 4th base really, really quick. And I know that might sound like insanely quick 4th base, but the reason why it's okay with this build is because you're not mining gases. So not only you are using 3, 6, 9 less probes, you're also not building assimilators. You didn't spend all those minerals on the probes. So the 9 probes are 450 minerals, and that's basically a free nexus that you can add. And because this is a very, very mineral heavy build, you will have a bunch of minerals. Make sure to have 1 sentry always with your army for the Guardian Shield. And when you make your 2 observers, when the Terran starts pushing out, try to put them in places that can help you engage the Terran. So maybe on this map, put an observer here, and maybe like an observer here or here. The very, very good thing about this build is because you have so many gateway units and you're not, you don't have the unit composition that has AoE damage, you want to try and catch the Terran while they're unsieged, whether that's siege tanks, whether that's liberators, or widow mines. Now, the great thing about this build is because you're going Blink, a lot of Terrans will respond with a siege tank or two. But because you're transitioning into mass charge law, that's actually really good for you because siege tanks are complete shit against charge lots. So the only thing Terran will do is actually kill their own units with siege tanks when they attack your zealots. Another thing that you've probably seen pro players do as the Terran is moving out, that depends on what league you are, but as the Terran is moving out, the Protoss is always try to snipe a Marine or two, then blink back, then snipe a Marine or two, then blink back, and so on and so forth. Just kind of trying to get as much value as they possibly can. So this is where I'm fully saturated. I start warping in a lot of zealots. You can see I have no gas, which is how it should be. Started my 2-2 instantly. This is incredibly important. You need to get your 2-2 upgrades rolling as fast as you can. Keep making immortals, like I said. They're kind of like your high DPS units in your army. And you can see that this fourth base is at 7 minutes, which is super, super, super quick. I'm going to speed things through now. So again, if you see Terran is, coming across the map, you don't necessarily need to engage them like right here. But just try to engage them like here, just far enough from your base that they're not set up, but close enough so that you can get an extra warp in and then attack, if that makes sense. If two observers are not enough, maybe you feel like you need more vision, you can make another 1 or 2 observers, that's fine, like put them here, here, and then on this side. But what pro players used to do that, but what they figured out is, I can make 2 observers and then I can put a pylon here, then I can put a pylon here, and those are my observers for this part of the map. And even if the Terran drops, losing 100 mineral worth of pylon is better than losing your whole mineral line. So as your 2-2 is being completed, about 60% into it, you want to make a war prism and you want to be ready for that first part of your aggression. So this is where this build is the strongest, and this is where your army is the strongest as well. So Terran at this point will either have 1-0 or 1-1 upgrades. Terran cannot have 2-2 at this point. It's not possible. So this is your timing. And if Terran is sieged up in the natural, do not go in. What you want to do is just chill here, wait for the Terran to get a third or maybe attack you and just eat their army alive. So don't attack into 2 base, especially if you're 2 base all inning. You want to be more defensive against that. But if they have a third, you can punish that. You can run into the third from both sides and smash the Terran army, because the upgrade lead in PvT is actually huge and makes a lot of difference. So yeah, if Terran is really well set up, like let's say he's fully walled off here somehow, has siege tanks, has liberators, obviously don't kill yourself trying to do that. That's why you have the war prism, not only that can warp in your units here and help your army, but what I love to do when I do this build is just send the war prism to the main base, and you can pick up 4 zealots and then you can warp 8 zealots more. And that's 12 zealots, quick math. That's 12 zealots with 2-2 upgrades. He's going to need to bring a lot of units home to be able to deflect that, because he is behind on the upgrade count. So that's something you can use to your advantage. There's always a way to sneak in a war prism into the enemy base, and that's one way to kind of make the Terran pull their units from here into the main base, and then you can strike at the third. And the moment you kind of break the third base and make them lift off, I feel like the game is already over, because your economy at this point is insane. You're mining 3.4k minerals, and your actual probe count, if you look here, is only 68, but you're fully saturated on 4 base. That's because you're not taking the gases, so it might look like that you don't have enough probes, but this is actually a normal probe count, 68, just that your mineral income is way higher. Like at this point you can add a 5th base as well. And one thing that is funny, but that I've noticed as well, is what's great about this build is if Terran is 2 basing at this point, or 3 basing, whatever, they can kill one of your bases and you're still fine, because you still have a base, your base ahead. So you won't be in a lot of trouble. The moment 2-2 finishes, of course, start your 3-3, keep chrono boosting it, and yeah, this is your timing to try to finish the game, to be as aggressive as possible, and basically to just trade out with Terran. You have better upgrades, you have more economy, and you can just pick apart the Terran and make them trade as much as you can, because you will overwhelm them with economy, kind of like Zerg. Now, what happens if the game goes longer? What happens if you can't break the Terran? Maybe, you know, maybe you messed up, maybe you ran into a bunch of Widow Mines, maybe the Terran just defended. Or perhaps you did some damage on the third, but you can't kill them, so what do you do now? Well, you have two options. You can either keep warping in, keep going for it, because you will have upgrade lead for a very, very long time, especially going into 3-3. So you can keep attacking, keep pushing, or what you can do is simply get all these gases. Like, get a Templar Archives, get gas here, get gas here, get gas here, get gas here, and then suddenly you're mining off of 8 gas geysers. You can transition to Storm very, very quickly, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Or if you're more of a Colossus type of person, especially with 3-3 upgrades, you can just add another Robo facility, add Robo Bay, and move into Colossus. But only do that if you can't finish Terran for some reason, and you know, his army is getting more and more tech heavy, and yours is obviously still gateway units. Don't just randomly do it in the middle of this build, because like I said, your strongest timing is with 2-2 upgrades. And that's pretty much it. Now, if you want to see examples of this game, I'll be linking it in the description below, or you guys can just search for it if somehow I forget about it, but I don't think I will. Zest played this specific playstyle against Hero Marine, and you will see that the timings work quite well. Zest was actually going for like 4th base as Hero Marine was 2-basing him, so if you guys practice this build, you will find a lot of success with it. But that is it from me today. I don't think there's anything else to say. If I forgot anything, if you guys have any questions regarding this build, feel free to comment in the comments below and ask. I will do my best to respond and help you guys. But yeah, let me know what kind of guide you would like to see next. And that is it. I hope you guys learned something new. Thank you guys for watching. I'll also be linking this replay in the comments below so you guys can copy it. But that's it. For 5th time, that's it. Have a great day, guys. And I will see you next time with another guide. And I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Have a good one. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. And make sure to check out one of my previous videos. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Have a very nice day, and I'll see you guys next time.